Q&A with Julien and Mathieu. About the new roller coaster that we built, and I said we're coaster addicts, so why not? I'm really happy with it. So, gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we will introduce ourselves first. So I'm Julien. I work for company design, so the parent company of Parc Astérix. I'm in charge of mainly designing all the new rides for parks and also doing master planning. So I was in charge of designing Toutatis, but also Conda, Mystic, Mahuka, and all the ones that are coming in the next 3 years. Yeah, a lot coming! But that's more or less what I do.
And I'm Mathieu, so I'm project manager at Parc Astérix. And mainly my position is, let's say, Julien tries to find some problems to solve, and I am the solver of those problems. So let's say I'm managing the sites and I'm managing all the construction works at the park. So yeah, be welcome at Parc Astérix. I hope that you enjoy the start of the day, and yeah, we are here to answer all the questions you could have on what you saw, on
what we are planning for the next 20 years.
If we speak about the future, we'll try to find some answer to give you some clue, but not all the answers. Feel free, try, and we will see what we answer to that.
Okay guys, so shoot up, give up your questions. Does anybody has a good question?
Or even a bad one.
Or a bad one? There are no stupid questions, only stupid answers, so don't worry about it. The thing is, I have one question for you guys.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, your roller coaster was announced by mistake at the APA floor in Florida at the Intamin booth.
Right? No, it was not announced by mistake. It just, no, the fact is it was planned for 21, but first to building permit issues, legal issues, let's say, and then the COVID, it was postponed.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
I have to say, I wrote it this morning for the first time.
yeah.
I really liked it. It's really great. How the hell you came up with this layout? Was it something that you guys decided to develop, or was it Intamin who came in and saying we want to do it like this?
So we work, it's a partnership with Intamin. So the way I will explain my own experience, I don't know how the others work, but this is how I do it. So we go to several manufacturers, we give them some clues like, okay, where the station will be, where the layout can be spent, and so on. And first I let them quite free, so they can bring ideas. I have mine, but I don't tell them first. We made a competition with several manufacturers, so here there was Intamin, Mac, and so we went with Intamin that proposed the concept of the switch, the fast switch, so with the swing launch and the brakes everybody liked on top of the top.
No.
Okay, sorry. And then, in fact, we contracted Intamin for 2 rides at the same time. Back then, it was Toutatis and what became Conda. So the deal, we contacted the 3 manufacturers for the 2 rides together. It was okay. One manufacturer will get both. So, and when we start working with Intamin, I told them, okay, Conda, I would like to go to create some kind of modern expedition G-Force, and this one is a modern Maverick. That was the idea. So for me, Maverick is taking all the best elements you have back then when it was Maverick, but now what we have, and let's try to combine them together. Maybe not all of them because we don't have enough track lengths, but that was more or less the idea. So we, in fact, we started with another location in the park. So we went back then to redesign everything again. We had the swing launch, but all the rest was designed twice, in fact. And it was okay, can we put a stall, can we put, I wanted a big camelback, and then okay, this element, and you build the layout piece by piece, trying to do something nice.
And also that roller coaster, especially the layout, it's made with 3 different sequences, and those sequences are like, the first one is not very intense, it's smooth, but you have very surprising elements. It makes you mean, okay, I'm on a roller coaster that is not what I'm used to write. It's something. The second sequence is about speed, and the last sequence is about dynamics. So it's a lot of elements following.
It's an appetizer, main course, and dessert. That's how we built it. And the goal was really to create something different from what we had already here. So we wanted something that is the opposite of Osiris, which is our second best rated now attraction. So it was really, okay, what is Osiris? So it's an inverted coaster, it's quite floaty and with big elements. So here we say, okay, we go close to the ground, we put launch, we do it with a lot of speed, so more elements per second than Osiris. So we have twice more elements than at the same time frame, I would say, than Osiris. And yeah, okay, let's put airtime and speed and the launches. Yeah, it's all. Toutatis more like, okay, let's put all what we can put in this length for this budget, and that's
I also like the theming a lot. When you go into the area, the big statue, the big fort, so it's really nice.
That's something very important for us. And let's say the market in Europe is maybe more on the immersive side, even for the side part. Yeah. And yeah, that's important for us to have a story. And at the park, all the main coaster, we call them the divine coaster, they are based on the god of their land. So Osiris is the Egyptian god, Zeus is the Greek god, and we need to have that Gallic god as well. So that's why Toutatis is the name.
No, and really, so the goal was to integrate, so but to make it not look too frightening, too hard. So that's why it's also buried a little bit in the ground, so you don't see too much of it. We wanted to keep so that was a challenge for Mathieu, to keep as many trees as possible to have a good sense of speed when you go through the final part of the layout. And I think so you have probably ridden Pantheon in Busch Gardens. I think it's more or less the same layout, slightly different.
This one is better, I like it better.
So, and I think for me the big difference between here and Busch Gardens is the theming. In fact, the theming, you can see that the theming, just the swing launch, which is more or less exactly the same, almost exactly the same.
And
profile,
even during the
just
side
adding the bridge and the trenches make it.
That's a crazy story. Julien, during the site, he came from Busch Garden and he said during the triple launch over there is an issue. It hurt the head. You have to correct it. We had many talks with Intain because of the fact the launch is not on a straight line but on a curve. The acceleration should not be continuous but should be also a curve. And that being said, you have to find an engineer that understands that and wants to solve the issue as well. So that was
yeah. I was on a US trip and I rode Pantheon, and like 2 days after that I was in Kennywood, and by chance I was the chief designer of Intamin there also, so we met at the you have to correct this.
Sure.
And I know that Intamin is known for the power they can put in their launch, but here we say, okay, let's tame it, because so for the first one we can push it quite strong, but not too much because we are already rolling, so I don't want the guests to hit their head against the headrest. I don't know if you've ridden Batman, which is by the way a really nice coaster, but the first launch is slightly too punchy for me. I hit my head. But yeah, that's always finding compromise. This coaster also, I can come back on the brakes, which I know. No, but so we designed this ride quite early. It was beginning of 27, so a long time ago compared to the opening. And back then, the coaster like this one, there was Maverick, which in fact stops in the middle of the ride, and there was Helix in Lisburg, where those two super long coasters. And for me, my big so I'm a coaster fan, so of course I designed for myself, but I first and foremost designed for the guest. And it was, okay, it will be 90 seconds of full speed ride. We should not be too much for the regular guests. I don't want to do something like Intimidator 305 or this kind of rides that are too much for the coaster fans. They love it, but the general audience, and that's our audience at the end, sorry, not so much. So the brakes were, okay, we put something in the middle more or less of the layout that gives you 2 seconds of and still we are 40 meters above the ground, so it's still a little bit tricky. But okay, we slow down during 2 seconds, and then we go back full speed. So that was the intent. Now, after riding it, I thought, okay, maybe we could have avoided it, in fact. But as long as you don't ride it, you never know. That's the beauty of coaster design.
Can you put them up?
No, we could dismantle. We can
the fight is the first element just after the drop. Is the one with a lot of kinetic energy. And that would be a mistake to remove brakes on that element. And basically, if you reduce the energy on the top, that's the goal of also of the brake. Yeah, you can also have that continuous. I mean, when you leave that drop, it's non-stop, and you have this because of you have a good average of energy, and that would modify all the succession of the trip if you remove from.
In fact, the final part of the layout was designed knowing that we have this trim brake. Okay. So if we remove, so I think there are 8 fins. Maybe if you remove one, it's still okay. But when the coaster is warm, the final develop it's quite aggressive. So I would
suggest to try to be on the last trains from the morning to the evening. It's not so hot today, but let's say we would earn today 5 to 6% of speed at the evening. When it's very hot at the end of the day, we earn 10% of speed.
Okay. So when you design coaster, you have to take in account slow speed and fast speed. So between here
hot
in the winter,
where you are more speed.
We can open the ride with -5 degrees. I don't know if Fahrenheit. Sorry. So freezing temperature up to like 100 degrees Fahrenheit or a little bit more. So you have a huge difference, especially on a ride that is that long, between slow train and fast trains. All this.
The other thing that I noted this morning was the station, the light effects on the roof of the station. That was something that I really liked. You don't see it that much often. That you can put in the theming also these light effects on it. And I know with the LED lighting these days, and if you go to the Alpha Fair, you see all these kind of stuff.
The idea would be on that is all your emotion, we have to put you in a context if you want to live them plenty, fully. This kind of effect is actually not for the people in the train, but for the people just in front of the train. And if you're not used to ride a roller coaster, that puts you a lot of pressure. It says you that will be something, and that prepares you to receive what you will have after. And you have the light effect, but also the sound effect. And when I bought all the sound effect for that ride, we can play 160 decibel comfortably in the station, which we don't do because. But I bought a lot of sound effect, and the bass system is just below the station. And when the train leaves, you can feel a little the floor moving like that. That's made by the sound effects as well, and that makes you anticipate what you will have. You feel the strength of the god. And also we play with the color. Zeus is blue, Osiris is more red and yellow, and that one should be green. And we also play with that when we do the design. Let's say the way we do the storytelling is not a very large detailed story, but clue. And each visitor can choose to have a little clue, or maybe look after more clue. And the more you will look, the more you will find clue to understand the story we had in mind. And we like this idea of just suggesting things.
I'm running out of questions about Toutatis. Anybody else has a question? Because
si moi j'ai une question, je la pose en français.
Oui, tu le poses. Je vais traduire. Bon, Alexandre peut traduire.
Pourquoi vous avez retiré le rang à l'envers de Tonnerre de Zeus?
I don't know.
So the question is why we don't have still anymore the rear seat at Tonnerre. Basically reducing the queue. So one rear seat is 2 front seats, and that helps us to have a 15% capacity more. So we bought it knowing that we will change it, and we just wanted to create a short-term event for the opening of the ride. and we had in mind that we will change it quite quickly. And if you notice, when the ride opened, the gate was here from the beginning, so we had this in mind.
So we did it, mainly for marketing reason. To test it first, we tried because I saw it in Australia and where else?
Dream World.
In
Dream World.
And so Dream World and Rahmen, so yeah, the same. And it was okay. Let's try to sell it. Nobody bought it. Okay, so then we gave it for free. And you see, when I was talking of okay, where is the limit for our guests? That was above. I really liked it personally, but when I wrote it, I was okay, that's really for the so we prefer because the backward.
And that's also that issue with low capacity proposal is that you have to make them paid, otherwise you will have a too long queue. And the fact is, the people who wanted to pay for that were not a full capacity of those seats, and that would create some conflict on the station where you say people really want to do the backwards and everybody wants to do for free. That could create some conflict, so that's also avoiding that. It's difficult to balance and to show the good.
That's
It's a playground, so
sometimes we do test and learn.
Yeah. I saw a big construction site in the middle of.
That's mine.
That's yours. I know it's gonna be something new, like a roller coaster.
It might be. That will be for sure something more for family, because the trailer we made it. So the next one will be more family, and that will be I am thinking about what I could tell as clue, but not telling too much. Otherwise, I will be.
Newspaper. There is a spinning because you.
I think the marketing director said
newspaper. You explain.
So you can say a little bit more.
What was official?
I think it's Delphine Ponce's sentence.
I think
officially
nothing.
It's a family ride for sure. Officially, there will be more than just rides. And you will see, the site is beginning. I am doing some foundation works within 2 weeks, so some clue will be visible very soon.
Okay, just look at the internet, guys. We know our friends from Park Park will be here every day, so...
Basically what I could tell you is what we try to do with Julien is try to keep a good ride capacity compared to the evolution of the attendance. And what we see during the last year is the attendance, thanks to the hotel, is increasing quite fast. And it asks us to open a new ride every year. Obviously, we can't pay for, we can't buy a Toutatis every year, so we will have also small rides in between big rides.
And we need also to alternate between big thrilling coasters and also family rides.
Sure.
I don't know here it's quite wide.
I know you had in the old French village a really nice, I love it, ghost house.
I'm sorry?
The dark ride ghost house, that's closed, I know. I'm going to my car.
Oh, okay.
I miss a really good dark ride over here.
So do we.
Yeah.
we would love to do dark rides. It's actually we are not a park with existing dark rides. We don't have a lot. We have examples, but we don't have any. And all the organization you have to change behind to be able to have a dark ride with a good quality every day. It's quite different from the organization we have today. And the critical point is very difficult to find. And we won't do a ride that we are not able to maintain and to keep good for all the time along. For sure, that ride in the village, we know we have something to do. That's somewhere in the plans. Like we did this year with the Grand Splash, we made a big rehab due to the fact we had a lot of attendance last year, and that allowed us to do more job this winter. It's on the paper, it's for somewhere in the time, but we have first to be organized before doing such.
I can imagine that, so it will take a little bit of time, because there will be something coming.
You explained that you want to be to increase the capacity of rides, but for example, all the rides of Parc Astérix has only one disembark and embark key. And instead of different parts, which there are, for example, a place for disembarkation and a place for embarkation.
Yeah.
Do you think that this situation is not enough?
It's a question of dispatch time. If you have a short dispatch time, the question is, do I have enough time within 25 seconds or 30 seconds? That's the case those coasters have, to disembark and embark at the same time. Toutatis, we have 45 seconds, which is much more enough to disembark and embark. And the fact is, when you have a roller coaster with a short dispatch time, it means that it's a roller coaster with a lot of brake station, and we don't like to ride the brake station, and that's not what we want to do. And basically, what you look, the coaster who have a double station is coaster who have a very short dispatch time and needs more time to disembark and embark. And if you look at Steve's, for example, when you do chronometers over there at Tour Park, I think it's not efficient because you also have the time you move that. You have also the cost of one more train because you have one more block station and the train is $1 million for Toutatis. So, do you prefer buy another ride or do you prefer to buy another train?
That's always all.
And that's all those questions we ask. And with Julien, we always make choices thinking about the visitor experience, not about our operation comfort.
So when we designed Toutatis, we did the layout so we can run 3 trains without, theoretically, without stacking of the train. So when the train comes on the final brakes and stops before the station, it should maybe stay like 2-5 seconds, so which is super short. We made also the system, so the PLC, so when the train is leaving the station, the next one enter the station before the first one has exit completely the block. So we do, and the goal with Toutatis was to come somewhere between 1.2 and 1.3 people per hour, because that's what we need. We could do more, of course, but it's money, it's and you cannot build a ride that has over capacity. I don't know if you can say that, but if you look at Europa Park, the Voltron is 1,600 and they do 6 million per year. So we have almost 1.3 and we do 2.8. So there is always a question at the end of, okay, money versus, so what is the best compromise between capacity, money, etc.
When we do the design, there is always the bright side, let's say the layout design, and there is also always the dark side, which means basically for us Excel sheets with a lot of calculation just to see what is the better choice.
That's the front part of the group company result. What I see with all the other theme parks, also with you guys, is that they're investing more in the theme parks at the moment in the entertainment industry than they did before. So yeah, but it's true. It's true. You see it in the paper. If you follow like the shareholder stuff, you see it. So they're making a shift also from their mountains with their cable cars and its key areas. They know, unfortunately, with the heating up of the earth, it's going to be disappearing in a certain moment. So they're investing already on that side, on the entertainment industry in the future. So on what I see lately, in the last couple of years, what's happening with all the CDL companies, all parks everywhere in Europe. It's going being better and better. You got more top rate rides all around Europe, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, there are two things we are convinced with. The first one is the visitor that we will have tomorrow are the visitor we have today, and they will want to come and come and come again. So we have to take care of them.
Yeah.
And it means good rides and it means new rides, the both. And also we are convinced that it's better to do a little every year than doing a big shot and nothing for 10 years. And that's why also at the park, and we know that there are some areas that are old and we have to take care about them, but we prefer to do one at a time and always have something to do and have surprise every year, new thing every year, and that's the way we prefer to manage the parks.
I was so happy when I got a call from the guys from Cincinnati, a friend of mine from Gravity Group. They said to me, Joe, we're doing Parc Astérix. And I said, oh, thank God they're not RFCing it.
Yeah, that was
because I really hate when if parks go with an existing wooden roller coaster and make their RMC thing about it.
To be honest on this one, so Tonnerre de Zeus in fact was imagined, created or whatever after we started the Toutatis project. Because of the delay of Toutatis, the park said, okay, we need something new in the meantime, okay, what, and we had to do a rehab of Tonnerre de Zeus because the track was getting shaky. And so I proposed this idea, okay, let's revamp it, and so we discussed about RMC. I was like, so first, it's not exactly the same budget, but second, as we were taking some ideas from RMC for Toutatis, I said, okay, it's difficult to do RMC because if I work with RMC, and I end up opportunity to work with them, when I work with a manufacturer on a certain type of ride, I try to push it to the maximum. And Tonnerre de Zeus, I would not have do inversion because otherwise we wouldn't have any big coaster without inversion. I think you need at least one. So okay, then you remove something that RMC does really well, and then we would have done more or less a steel coaster with wood structure that looks a lot like Toutatis without the launch. And as our goal is to have several rides that are all different from each other, and I like also old and shaped wooden coaster.
Thank you.
So,
you're not the only one.
But I know I think we pushed Gravity Crew quite far during a time that was super difficult, meaning COVID, because from the US they had to travel during a time where all borders were closed, and it was I think quite difficult for them.
And even due to the delay, we had to run the old PTC train on the new track. That was
it didn't
not
help.
the better idea.
But when people complain, because I know people are complaining, I hear them. But when we did the design, so we had of course money issues, but yeah, COVID, and so we could not do the full length of the layout with new track. So we said, okay, what are the best parts of the layout that we could keep because they are not that shitty. They say, okay, there are those two straight lines with bunny hops on the second part of the ride. So it's straight, it's just up, down, okay. Compared to turns and other stuff. Let's skip those parts. And now you see that they are the worst part of the ride. So you can understand that the rest is better, just you don't remember how bad it was before.
Okay.
But
does anybody else have a question? Because I'm talking too much.
Yeah, going back to capacity issues on Toutatis.
sorry?
Capacity issues on Toutatis. You see the operators really making a huge effort to get people through on that ride, but somehow the line is still insanely long. Did you expect the park attendance to go up that much when you designed the ride? Or was that kind of unexpected?
Finance, yes.
No, let's say, instance of today, 3 extensions of the crew line were closed due to the attendance expectations. So basically that was a little shame today, this morning, but basically the queue line was quite empty. It happens.
But I would say the queue
in general.
And also a strategy of the park is try to have queue lines that at the entry point doesn't exceed 45 to 1 hour depending on the ride, just to make them spray outside when it's more, just to tell people it will be a long wait. And maybe it's a good idea to go somewhere else at the time it goes better. And actually it works quite well at the opening of the park to spread the flow everywhere in the park. And then after, during the day, that regulates.
But more generally, did you expect the park to grow as fast as it has in the past few years with attendance numbers?
When we invest, we don't know, of course, we never know what will happen. But yeah, at least the guys from finance expect it to grow.
And you have to also see that we opened 150 more rooms in our hotel. And the hotel effect is very interesting because you have more 2 days and 1 night, and that also helps a lot to increase the attendance.
We have more days of operation. Every year we add, so this year we will open the Wednesday in September and October. So every year we add like 10 additional days, and it helps us also with the hotel to spread the attendance. Part
of the strategy, you may know that, is the capacity of the park is based on the design day and the peak day. So the peak day, maximum day, and the design day, average of the 20 biggest. And last year, regardless the fact that we had a record on attendance, we reduced the design day 10% and we reduced the peak day 1,000 people, so it's a lot. Yeah. Based on the fact we succeed to spray, so basically that goes, it's more expensive on Saturday to come. And works well, and that helps a lot also to manage the capacity within the attendance. So that's part of the. Yeah.
And when we have 1 hour for Toutatis, for us, okay, for the guests, it's 1 hour, but we need also to sell. So fast pass. No, but when you have 1 hour and when you come during the summer, it's rare to have more than 1 hour. Okay, at the opening of the park, you will go up to 80-90 minutes, but then at like 11 or 12, it will go down to between 45 and 60 minutes, which for the biggest ride and the most popular ride of the park is acceptable. For me, we should not do, our best ride should not have only 20 minutes of waiting time on a busy day. That's not good.
I guess follow up, how big do you think the park will be able to grow in the coming like 5 or 10 years?
Within the 10 years, let's say something like that. So, at a long term, we still have 9 hectares. So I don't know in square feet so how much it makes. Let's say we have still the space to do 3 extra lanes areas. So that's the space we have. So within at a long term, we will use that to grow, but also to renovate some old areas. So that will be an alternance between growing Tonnerre and renovate. But we still have some space and we want to use them.
Very last question. Seeing dessen kind of sitting in its current state, kind of begs the question of whether
dessen is useful for us because it's one of the very low. We don't have a lot of indoor rides, so we need some indoor rides when it's rainy, and we don't have a lot. So we will care of that one because it needs to be revamped. We know that, but we did some small renovation this winter to improve the AV systems and so on. Because it's like the dark rides. There's so many so many work to take care about that.
No,
we don't have a lot of indoor. We need to have more indoor rides to care about that one first.
And we are aware of our strengths and also of our weaknesses. It takes time to correct everything. The park is 35 years old this year.
And you have to balance what is making the day of the visitor better. Is that new rides? Is that
prioritize?
Is that a revamp? Is that?
Während.
Given that the attendance of the park is growing, do you have an idea of the percentage of people visited from France versus international visitors? And does it have any influence on how you design future experiences? So do you think about making it multilingual or
Totally, yes. 5 years ago, we had 5% of foreigners visitors. Last season, it was 15, so it's increasing. We see an effect on based on the fact we have more hotels, so we can become a destination. Really helps. Maybe also some new signature rides would help, but mainly it's the hotel effect. When you have a hotel, you can attract people coming from further, and if I go further with your reflection, it means that, and that's in the plan, we'll have more hotels in the future, yes.
But we also need to have more operators speaking English.
Yeah.
So Asterix is known in Germany, Belgium,
It tried to be in the US, but was not successful.
There's some people over here coming especially from Florida. Robert over here just to visit this park. He's just stopped extra in France. He joined us today. He's going to Spain, so that's the one. We've got other people from Pennsylvania. We've got people from Czechoslovakia. We've got people from Holland. People from Germany. People from Belgium. People from Switzerland. So it's people from France. I have my friends from Parkverantwortlichen joining us today. So it's.
But the Asterix IP is really interesting. So in France, it's the most known comic character there is, and by far,
every new book that is on sale, so there is one every 2 years. It's always the first book sold within, and it sells 2 million books within a month. So it's a huge IP.
And it's a brand that is renewing. You know, you have a lot. When you do a park or anything with an IP, you don't know how the IP will evolve. Of course, when you have Star Wars or Harry Potter, you know that it should last for a few years. But if you look at the Smurf or at I don't know other theme, Tintin, yeah, for example, Tintin is dead now. So,
yeah, the problem is they ask too much money. That's the problem.
The brand behind Asterix, they release one new comic every 2 years, one new movie every 4 years. They are doing TV show. There's a lot happening with Asterix, which is really benefiting to us. And also the character itself, it travels everywhere. We can play with anachronism, with funny stuff. The only issue I would say for foreign visitors is there's a lot of French play with words that are untranslatable.
And also your names are in French.
So for example, the shows are difficult to understand. If you go to Mambas, this one has no lines. So this one is it's a slapstick, so there is no speaking. But the other one, we have a really nice new musical, but it's all in French. So
I'm not going to translate whole music, guys. So don't.
But maybe we should. But yeah, it can be a project for the future. But like Vidufoo does, they have a translate. They have an app where the show is translated. You can listen to it with your earplug. Yeah, maybe it's something we do in the future when we have more foreign visitors.
Anybody's got one final question? I don't want to spend these gentlemen there all the time, and I want to ride some roller coasters.
But it's you. We know that.
So, any other questions? No? Then I would like to have a big applause for these two guys. Thank you very much.